It's Dr. Lori, and boy, have I got something cool for you. I want to introduce you to Mike and Megan from Knorpp and South on YouTube. This is part 2 of a great house tour where I'm going to show you what to look for, how to tell art, antiques, collectibles. They're great thrifters. They're really treasure hunters, and they filled a beautiful home, not only with 9 beautiful kids, but also with some beautiful, of course, thrifting treasures. And I'm going to praise them and show you all what to look for. If you want to see part 1, you've got to go to their channel, right, at Knorpp and South on YouTube. But right here is part 2, and we're gonna really keep going. It's nice to see you guys. Hi, Mike. Hi, Megan.
Hey.
We are so happy to be here. It's really a privilege.
Oh, you're so sweet. I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to do it. So I want to ask you, we know that Megan is really talented with, of course, repurposing and being able to spot something at the thrift store. How good are you at this, Mike?
I'm a negative.
He's getting better. He's getting better. Sometimes I'll be real proud. He'll say, hey, this looks interesting. And he'll be right.
There you go.
Sometimes I'm actually joking, though, and then it turns out I was right.
Yeah,
so,
sometimes he thinks it's real tacky or ugly.
Do you both have collections that you're just like, oh, I love this? Like, I collect birdhouses. I've loved fish my whole life. I always have collected fish. We were laughing in part 1 about some of the things that are very similar in my house and your house. And you got to go to part 1 to find that out. But also, what kinds of things do you collect?
Mike?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm not a collector.
He collects what are they called? Those things that stick to the wall without damaging
command
them.
hooks. I collect things that are
right.
very utilitarian.
Yeah.
So
well, that's good. Well, you know what? More room for Megan's collection.
Yeah, he's just here to be the wind beneath my wings.
Right. So show me what you want to show me there, Megan. Let's see.
Okay.
Oh, goodness.
What
we
should
need
we
to have
start
a slumber
with?
Party, Dr. Lori.
Oh, I know. I could come over and camp out.
Of furniture. This one I love.
People
but it's
like
sometimes a mystery
cabinets.
to me. I see some signs that make me think it's very old. But there are other things that concern me.
Okay.
And so let's talk about this piece.
I don't think it's
one of the things that makes you think it's very old is like the top, which it's got the right color, the oxidation on it.
Take that.
And it's a single piece of wood, and it's very wide. So a very wide panel.
Yeah. Well, see, in my life, this is not very old because, you know, I've appraised things from, you know, the ancient Romans, you know, and 80 BC, Cleopatra, her mascara jar. I appraised that. So 80 BC is old, you know. So when I see something like this from like the late 1700s, early 1800s, that's not that old to me. But yeah, it's old. Now,
okay.
I like the color of the interior, and I do like the color of the cornice. You're right about the oxidation. You have to look at color with wood, but I do like this sort of a cornflower blue color. That probably is not the first color it was in the late 1700s. They usually would be, the interiors would be very red or very green or very black. That's probably more so anytime between 1810 and about 1850, that blue. So that helps you to date it by color, right? And I have to say that while the corner cupboards have gone in style and out of style, they're coming back in style. Where did you pick this one up?
At the thrift store.
What did you pay?
I think I paid 125, 150.
125, 150 is pretty good. Hey, Mike, did you have to lift it into the house?
Yes, that's my main job. So yeah,
that's
what I do. That's how I contribute.
That's right. You got to do the muscles, right? So not only brains and beauty, but brawn too. I like that.
That's right. That's right.
I probably like that piece around $1,500 today.
Nice.
Yeah, it's very nice.
I love it.
But I'll tell you what,
I think it was probably originally painted. Can you see it? I think somebody refinished it.
Oh yes, originally painted. They usually were painted, I mean, over time, they're painted the same color as the walls typically. That idea of uniting, you know, the furniture, making it look like it's actually a built-in when it's not. And I put on my gloves because I really want to talk about Johnson Brothers. I want to talk about the blue and white inside. I have some here too. But
yes,
show me.
I do love I got this set complete at the thrift store. It's the old Britain castles from Johnson Brothers.
Very, very famous,
and
of course, English ceramic transferware. transferware, very easy to tell, of course. I've talked this to you before in many of the other videos, but that idea of seeing sort of like wallpaper coming together. So you see the registration, you actually see where the two pieces come together, and you know that it's transferred, the image is transferred onto the ceramic. How many pieces do you think you have? Because that whole cabinet, show us that cabinet full of them. There's so many.
Yes.
Wow,
I got this
beautiful.
whole set. I think it's got something like 14 of the dinner plates. I've got salad plates. I've got, I don't know what you call these. I've these bowls, but I have another, these smaller, like.
Okay, so
fruit
those,
bowls.
the smaller ones are fruit bowls, right? For your fruit salad, because they ate more fruit. We should eat more fruit and not eat Doritos, right? Or chips. And then these other ones are, of course, for soup. Sometimes you get consomme bowls, but consomme or bouillon is usually a cup and it has no handle, if you don't know what those are, right?
Well, yeah, then I have these smaller bowls with, no, those are the same.
Okay, those look the same.
Bowls. I have these two different size, like maybe a dessert plate and a salad plate.
Okay, so you might have a dessert plate of that style too. Definitely a dinner plate. Dinner plate's really big. Salad plate. Bread plates and dessert plates sometimes can be about the same size. So a little plate near your dinner plate for a piece of bread or a roll, right? Or a popover. You know, I'm from New England. We ate popovers kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. So, but I think that's a gorgeous, gorgeous set. So how much did you, so you have service for 12, it sounds like.
Yes, I do have service for 12 plus. Some of them have more. The only thing I don't have is the teacups. I have these saucers that go with them for 12, but I only have 7 of those. But I got the whole set, I think, for $125.
Oh, so all of those for $125, even though you only have 7 teacups. Okay, you can always source the cups. We know that, being thrifters and treasure hunters, you know you can find them. The other thing that I would say is they're really in beautiful condition, and they'll stay in beautiful condition if you do a couple of things. So here are some tips. One of them, don't stack any more than 6 high when it comes to plates. If you are using, of course, a plate rail as you are, you're basically have a little indentation in your nice corner cupboard. Make sure that every 3 months you actually move the plate. Here, I'll do it here. Wait, I've got to put these on.
I never do that.
Yeah, got them. Yeah, you're going to say, oh, but Dr. Lori, because like I've got a Christmas tree example. So every 3 months you want to do this. And then 6 months you want to do this. And then again, you want to do this, because you don't want, of course, it to become damaged only on one side because it's sitting in that well all the time.
Yeah. Okay.
So then you go, but then my castles are going to be upside down for 3 months, right? So then you might want to, of course, change them out too, but don't stack them too high, and make sure that you
keep this cabinet closed some of the time.
Great. And make sure that you, of course, switch them out if you can. You want to display them, though. They're really quite beautiful. Blue-white transferware by Johnson Brothers. It's really classic English. Value on the set. Now, having only 7 cups is going to hurt the value, but you're probably in the $350 range for what you have.
Nice.
So that's really nice. About 3 times more than what you paid. So that's great.
And I love it. It's beautiful. It makes me happy. And I have these shelves in my home where, because I have a few other Johnsonware pieces that I put away, you know, that are like yours, the Christmas one. And so Mike built me these shelves so I can, you know, switch things out. And so I just put these up yesterday when I took down my Christmas.
Mike, you're handy. I need more shelves in my house. Come and build me some shelves.
Yeah.
Those are gorgeous, though.
And then I have this piece, which I believe is like a screen. What is it called?
I like that.
You do a T-shirt.
That I like.
And this is from Academy Arts in Chicago.
Yeah, I like it because, you know, of course, I live near Amish country, and of course, I like that look. But first of all, it's a very nice silk screen. It has
there you go.
Those layers, and that's what you're looking at when you're looking for silk screen prints. You want to look for the layers of the colors. That means you have different screens, and then the pigment or the paint is pushed through the screen. Each color is its own screen. So they're printed individually by colors. So all the black is printed at the same time. All the gray is printed at the same time. That mustard yellow is printed at the same time, and it layers on top of itself. The other telltale sign that this is from the 1980s into the early 90s is that patterned mat. When you see a patterned mat. I think that was
even screen printed.
Yeah, when you see a pattern mat like that, that's the 80s, you know. people like P. Buckley Moss from, of course, Virginia in that area. And of course, many of the other artists who follow in that style. I like that piece a lot. It looks like it's pretty significant. I also like the quality of the frame, and value on that piece, I would say about $150 for that.
Nice.
Nice.
I love it too.
How do you find enough space in that dining room in order to keep all those kids, comfortable during dinner? You've got 9 children, 9 beautiful children.
Yeah, usually we have chairs at the end of the table too. I just moved them for today.
Of course, they have, I should tell you, if you don't know this lovely couple, they have 4 biological sons, and they also have 5 children that they have adopted from China. So fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I have more furniture. I have lots of little knickknacks, like this little tea set right here. It's really pretty.
That is really pretty. In a style that's Asian, of course. In the manner of Satsuma style pieces, is it marked on the bottom?
It's not marked. It's got no marking. It's got a lot of...
Okay, let's talk a little bit about this. You know about nature symbolism, probably. So different things with respect to different flowers relate to symbols of flowers, and the history of the symbols of flowers is very, very well known. That small little round tray is, of course, for the service of tea. Typically with tea services, yes, that little tiny tray, and you'll notice it all fits beautifully together. Now, if you take the tray and you hold the tray up to one of the cups, so if you put the cup next to the tray, right, I want to see whether or not we have an actual match. So we want to see if we can actually match the handling of that. Okay, so it looks pretty good. It looks like you've got, all right, it looks like it's pretty good for that one. Now let's look at the teapot. If there's a lid, take the lid off so you don't damage it. And let's make, yeah, that's a direct match. Stay right there for me. Stay on the orange color, right. If you look at that, boom, you can see that the coloration is the same. And this is extremely important because they get mismatched and they get turned around when you're in the thrift store. So a couple things you have to do. You have to remember the person who's putting them on the shelf might put the teapot here and the tray down the way. And then on another shelf, they put a cup, and then another aisle over, there's another cup. You got to kind of be a treasure hunter and look around. So were they all together when you found them at the thrift store?
I think I do look around it when I don't find a whole set, but I think these were all taped together. Okay,
they do look like a whole set. However, typically a whole set would be an odd number, not an even number in of course, Japan. If you look at the bottom and you see the bright white porcelain, that's also Japanese. Don't be taken aback if you don't have a mark. I know you all look for marks. Marks are not the only thing you should be looking for. You're right. You want to look for, of course, that nice detail and that hand-painted work. Those are Japanese, date to about the 1960s. And I would say for that set, you're looking at about $125 for that set. Nice.
Nice. I think I paid just a few dollars for it.
Beautiful. Oftentimes pieces like that, they are only a few dollars. I love looking at your house. Why don't we look at the Biedermeier style piece behind you?
This.
Yes.
This one I got for, I won't tell you yet. You can ask me afterwards.
Okay.
It is definitely European. It has a train ticket from the early 20th century, German train ticket when somebody shipped it across the country.
Really?
Glued to the back.
Wow.
It's beautiful.
I love things like that. I love details like that. I always tell you guys to protect the label, but things like that tell you what happened, how the piece got here. Biedermeier, of course, very, very famous and very, very high quality and high values for many pieces. Now, we can't document this one particularly as Biedermeier authentic, but I will say it's in a very good style, very similar to it. I like those ovals. I like also the attention to detail on the wood. I like
this
the
is just beautiful.
It's beautiful. I like the bun feet. Those feet are bun feet. They look like, little buns out of the oven.
Do you think they would have originally been here?
They would have originally been there. That's right. That's right. They would have continued that line, that sort of looks like a turret or a cylinder that's rounded. They would have been moved. So for some reason they moved it. And you know what it probably was? it probably had to do with what was sturdy, right? When it got moved. Now, what do you keep in it? You keep books in this?
I do.
You know what I'm going to tell you, honey?
No more books.
Well, fewer books.
Yeah,
right?
there's a lot of books in there.
Fewer books. And I love the grandma's flower
Quilt.
garden quilt inside. I love quilts. People know that. I talk a lot about quilts. And of course, you just want to make sure not too many because you don't want to put undue stress on it. What I like about this, and let's talk about applied ornament. That's one of the things. So if you look at the outside, the circular portion, right, very nice. So those are hand carved and then hand applied, scroll work details. I even like the stress areas, those 2 areas at the bottom of that oval that go in. Yeah, it's stress areas, but you know, we all have pieces that sort of show their age. And I think sometimes that's the beauty of antiques when they show their age. Yeah, I think that's very nice. That piece has a market value today, I would say about $1,250. What did you pay for that?
$85.
Ah, that's great. There's a lot of stuff out there. There's some great stuff out there, that's for sure. So
well, I'll show you. I have another piece that I believe is early 1800s American, right here.
Sideboard. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So at first glance, I'll say I like the feet. Okay. I have a little bit of a problem with sort of the elements of the wood. So what's problematic is I think the panels are quite nice, but they didn't get a whole lot of love.
Yeah.
Yeah, very dried out, probably in a barn at some point or in the elements at some point. I don't know if you would have any way to know if that's true or not, but it looks like that from
it definitely needs some help and some love, but I'm afraid to touch it.
Well, you know, again, a professional restorer would be able to help with respect to recommendations, but I would say that it looks like it's a little dry. Now, tell me about those pulls. Those pulls do look original to it.
They're I believe they're original. They're very heavy glass. This one of them is chipped.
Okay,
right
well
here,
that happens. Okay.
But yeah, I didn't think they're original, but as I started looking into pieces around this same age, I saw that they had the same glass knobs. So.
Can the camera person back up so we can see the whole piece?
Yeah.
Thank you, sweetie. So
now, I do believe it probably had a little piece at the very back of the top, like
which is called a gallery.
Oh, okay, a gallery.
Yeah, a gallery. Hello, puppy.
You can come see the top if you want.
Yeah, the kitty's walking through the frame.
Oh, that's a kitty. That's a big kitty. I thought it was a dog.
Nope, that's our big kitty.
So
you can see it has some ink stains on the top. At least that's what I believe them to be.
And a little bit of surface cracking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, it's been loved. So this is going to impact value, of course. But the other thing that this would have been used probably as a sideboard for a display of food. And of course, in the middle 19th century, that idea of displaying food and showing plenty, right? Showing we have everything we need, right? Was something that we see. So we see these big servers or these big sideboards were pretty popular then. It's called Empire Style. It's a pretty high style piece. And I would say value on that probably about $600. What did you pay for that?
I also paid $85 for that one.
That's
this one,
good.
Mike definitely thought I was wasting my money on. He just thought it was an old piece of junk. But
oh, really? You didn't like it?
I actually said, no, I'm putting my foot down. We're not getting this. But,
this is not
that's
happening.
good show.
But we got it.
Then I got 2 questions. I got 2 follow-ups for that. He says no, but you still have it. We see that you won this battle, correct? And I guess there are no battles really in a nice marriage like yours. But I will say this. When it had to come into the house, were you complaining, Mike, or did you just say, okay, I lost the battle, I'm bringing it in?
I don't remember.
I think I did a lot of sweet talking on the way home.
Yeah, and once we got it in the house, it looked a lot better.
Yeah, I think in the thrift store, surrounded by a lot of junky furniture with a lot of dust on it.
Yeah.
And I oiled it when it came home.
Ah, there you go. There you go.
Then he said, okay, that is a nice piece.
And it's amazing what something like that will do. You know, something simple, not like, oh, I'm going to repaint it. And, you know, sure, people like to repaint and repurpose. And a lot of times the things look better, but be careful and know what you've got first before you go repurposing.
I only repaint. I only repaint furniture if it's, you know, made in the last 40 to 50 years, typically. But
okay, well, go easy with the repainting.
So this is another absolutely not from Mike.
let me
Well,
ask you
actually,
a
Mike wasn't
question.
there this time.
Let me ask you a question, Megan. I'm sorry to jump on, to step on your words, but I want to ask you this question. Do you collect things, sort of small things like that would be accessory pieces, like maybe lamps or maybe some brass, or pieces that, you know, you just say, I like the thing kind of stuff?
I have a lot of things that I like. You can see
Okay.
I have brass in here.
Oh, brass.
A lot of
is-
brass.
Brass, yeah.
Some I think is worthless.
Well,
you
some
know.
of the brass from India is not worth all that much, and they're usually very easily marked, and not the only. There are some good pieces from India and some not so good pieces from India, but if you see made in India and you see that it's very thin, it's usually not worth very much. I want to always tell you how to tell things, because that's what we're all about here.
So I figure something like this is probably
Stamped out,
not too valuable, but it's shiny and
from
pretty.
the 80s, and it's
like,
shiny, yeah.
This is a prettier piece.
Better, and of course two-tone is very popular, so that's a little bit better, but also Middle Eastern style. You saw, of course, that where the pole of the spout comes right to the bottom of the body.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So then I have this one that has the little
I like that with the feet,
brass feet.
because those feet are cast, and so is the handle, and that basically means so that's sort of like a little sieve or a little colander.
Yeah, it's very
You know,
cute.
Yeah,
I like
very
the little
cute.
feet.
And also a little bit of age on that, which I like. So that piece, I would probably say around $30.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is made in England, it says.
Okay, better. I like that a little bit better. I like the striations around the body, and I like the thinness, the thin curve of that handle. So I'd probably be somewhere around $20 on that. I might be as much as 25, but you probably have to push me to 25 for that, based on actual sales records where similar pieces have sold. Not just
I don't think
prices,
I have any incredibly valuable copper. I wish I did. I don't know anything about this piece.
Okay, let's look at the bottom of that piece. So you've got a little bit of cast iron, and then you'll notice the bottom, right? So it looks like the bottom has actually been repaired at some point, because it was used and then repaired. So you can see that if you show the bottom to the camera. There you go. You can see that in that way. But I like that it's also hand hammered at the bottom and hammered around the body, or the middle portion.
Yeah, that's very pretty. Oh, look, it still has its price tag from the thrift store on it.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you that it's worth about $40. And what does the price tag say?
$4.99.
There you go. Dates to the 1920s. I like it.
Really? That's fun.
Yeah, I like it. That is fun. And then,
I
you know,
think
you've got some
copper
bunt
pieces.
pans and stuff
Most
like that.
of it, like I said, is not incredibly valuable.
Oh, go easy.
No, see, look at this one.
Yeah, not incredibly.
Made in Turkey.
Yeah. So,
most-
okay. But
it's
when
pretty.
you get these Middle Eastern pieces, particularly India, South Asia, are the ones that are usually lower in quality. So that's fun. What about glass, Megan, or ceramics?
I have some ceramics. I have this little piece that it could be worth absolutely nothing, but it was an interesting color and shape.
Right. I like that. Kind of mushroomish. I would say
don't know
that
anything about that.
Well, hand blown. I mean, that's a nice piece of formed glass. I would say not all that high in value, but color sells when it comes to, of course, glass pieces. I would say about $20 on that.
Okay.
You know.
I love my little folk art pieces. I do when I find little carved cats.
Okay, cute. They get the cute. Not everything's great. Hey, let's take a look at that print. Is that that animal print? What is that?
Yes. This one right here?
Yeah.
This is a print from Molly Brett.
That's the British illustrator.
That's what this like.
Yeah.
In the manner of Beatrice Potter. Oh, that's beautiful.
It's kind of hard because
I do love it. It's like a little schoolyard of animals riding,
Very
little
nice.
tricycles.
And is it signed in the plate?
I don't think so. I don't
It's not
think
signed
so.
at all.
But I do have these Beatrice
I think it's signed. Can we go back to that a minute, Megan?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, sweetheart. I think it's signed. Isn't it signed at lower left?
Well, right here.
Yeah, that's called signed in the plate.
Oh,
which
I
means
didn't
when
know
they
that.
print it, they actually will make all of the animals, but then they'll also sign the name. And that helps to increase value. So even though you may not have a pencil signed piece, right? The fact that you have it signed in the plate indicates something too. You were going to show me something about Beatrice Potter.
I do have
moved
some
you
little
away. I'm
book
sorry.
prints from her. And I also have a book print from the 1950s of a Winnie the Pooh, but I don't keep everything out.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. I like those too. And of course, you know, major artists and major themes. Like, so if you were thinking about reselling, you might say, okay, we'll put these together because they're of the same type. Right.
Yeah.
So some folks do that.
Another thing that I have, you just stopped me. I have lots of rugs. And I have, what was I going to show you in here? I do have a really large print from Michel Delacroix.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And that's
Delacroix,
signed in pencil.
Very popular, of course. And these prints can be very expensive. Very expensive.
This is signed and numbered in pencil.
That's wonderful. So signed and numbered, usually, of course, 20th century, and they're typically street scenes of major cities. They're very detailed and they're wonderful to look at. I don't know if you're like this, but I'm like this with artwork. You see something different every time you look at it. Those kinds of pieces, there's, you know, you think you've seen every single thing, and then all of a sudden, you know, you look again and there's somebody hanging out of a window that you didn't notice on the building.
Absolutely. We just did that with another one of our Michel Delacroix. We
Yeah.
We realized, wait, there's a building on fire.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I like those very much. I also like, of course, the signed and numbered, and know the difference between a color lithograph, a serigraph, an etching, an engraving, that kind of thing. So in that case, of course, those are color lithographs. There are a lot of places, right? So you'll see them on the internet a lot, and you'll say, well, Dr. Lori, they're not that valuable, but actually the signed and numbered ones could have some significant value. So I've seen them as low as like $500, as high as $1,500, and smaller ones are usually in the $200 range framed. So that's a nice significant size. I also like the way you've kind of put it together with the plates on either side on the wall.
Yeah.
So I like those. It kind of all goes together, sort of a little moment, we used to say in museums. They say, you know, Lori, make a moment out of this wall, you know, so people would stop and sort of look. So I like that a lot. Is that true of the bookcase too? Is that bookcase repurposed?
That is the top of a, I got that for free. It was the top of an old hutch.
Oh, okay.
And I put some legs, some feet on it and painted it.
Oh, great. Yeah, fun. So much fun.
I have this little pig, this little folk art bookend. I don't know where he's from, but I love him.
You know,
Probably.
I think he's been added to the, you know, if you look at the wood and the carving of the pig, I think he's been added to the more primitive oak bookend portion.
Okay.
So I think he might have been a sculpture in his own right. And then somebody said, well, I'm going to make him into something. This is very typical of lamps and certain pieces of sculpture in America. We like everything to be functional. I've said this many times. And it kind of reminds me of some of those sculptures that, why can't you just be a sculpture? But in America, we have to use it for function. Do you collect bookends? I collect bookends.
Yeah, how can you not? When you collect books, you have to collect bookends.
You need them when you collect books. That's right. I like that your books are laying on their side. Some of them are laying on their side, which is good for the books because you don't want to put undue stress on the spine.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. It's good to know. I have some first editions that I found at thrift stores. I can show you those. I have lots of little knickknacks throughout.
That reminds me of an event. I was in Greensboro, and a woman brought in a signed copy of Margaret Mitchell's Gone with the Wind. And she said that her grandfather had got it from a woman on the street in Atlanta, who he made a pass at. And Grandpa, and the woman said, as she was signing the book, it happened to be Margaret Mitchell, take this novel home. I think your wife would appreciate it.
Oh,
and
my goodness.
Yeah, it was wonderful. That book was worth more than $50,000 at the time.
Oh my, well, I definitely don't have that kind of first edition.
But first editions can bring significant value. That one happened to have an autograph in it, but it reminds me, of course, of, you know, some great stories of appraisals of the past. But I have to say that you know, those books, just to have them around is wonderful for yourself and your children.
Definitely.
You know, to have access to great literature is great. And even if they don't understand or they don't get through the whole book, just to have it available is nice.
Yeah, I'll show you those. And I keep them in here because this one in particular was in such beautiful condition.
Oh yeah, that is beautiful.
It was like barely touched.
The book cover itself is a work of art. And when you see that, you know, I want you to think about those. You're in a thrift store and the book cover is just gorgeous. You say, I don't know this author. I don't know this book. You know,
This
it's
is the
probably a good
Castles
idea
and
to pick that
Chateau
up.
of Old Burgundy, and it has a bunch of beautiful,
Yeah, beautiful plate engravings.
many
of course.
throughout,
On the
and
inside
little
of the
maps
on the
throughout
inside of
too.
the end,
But really,
on the
like, it was never even barely
never even
opened.
touched. Yeah. On the inside of the end papers, when you first opened the book, you saw like a model. That's another telltale sign. If you see marbleized end papers or printed end papers, those are called end papers, that inside cover, you probably want to think about picking that up for your book collection. Usually that indicates some value.
Look at that beautiful one right there.
Yeah, very nice. And I'm sure the text is kind of interesting too.
Yeah, so this is by Francis Milton, but not that Francis Milton, I don't think.
Right.
And it's 1909.
Yeah, that's a nice book. I like it a lot. That's pretty.
And then I have a companion to it that somebody gave to me once they saw that I had that one.
Oh, wow. That's great.
So it's also by Francis Milton.
So now, of course, value is going to increase, because what you would do is you'd take the value of both of them. I love that. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
and sometimes they'll have a piece of paper in between them. Those earlier books will have a piece of paper in between them, so the ink doesn't get onto the other page where the text is.
Yes, so, this little, almost like thin vellum.
Yeah, if you have that thin Japan paper, leave it in there. Yeah, that's very nice too. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
And then my dad gave me a first edition Roughing It by Mark Twain that
wow.
been rebound.
All right. Okay. But
So.
Still, to have the first edition is quite nice. Did you collect as a kid, Megan? I collected as a kid. I collected small glass animals as a kid, and I collected anything that had to do with swimming, because I was a swimmer for a long time. Did you collect stuff as a kid?
You know, I collected junk. And I didn't have a lot of opportunities to collect. I wasn't, I grew up in the suburbs going to the swimming pool and stuff, but I would rip pages out of magazines, and those were all over my walls. And then if anybody left anything on the curb, I was begging my mom if I could bring it into my room. So I had a big pipe organ in my bedroom.
Oh, wow. Oh, see, you loved this as a kid. I told my university students, I used to say, you are who you are when you're 8. What you love as a kid, you'll love as an adult. What's interesting to me is you have a very good graphic eye. So the fact that you would have magazine pictures on your walls, that's developing the eye. I don't care where you develop the eye, but develop it. Look at things and understand color and composition. I think it's really quite wonderful. I had so much fun going through your house.
Oh my goodness. It was a dream come true for us, Dr. Lori, really.
Oh, you're so sweet. It's nice to do this. I think we should do this again. I hope we can do this again. And what fun. It was nice to meet Mike. Mike, you got to keep treasure hunting now, babe.
Okay. This was good, actually. This was bolstered Megan's position a little bit. So.
Hey, she did pretty well on a lot of them. And of course, when you live with what you love, that's what you want. So nice to see you all. I'm Dr. Lori. We'll see you next time.